Hello. Well, this time we're going to start talking about an older version of an older boiler, model boiler, which is the Vaillant Turbomax VUW. Now this personally is one of my favourite boilers, and unfortunately I haven't actually got one that's in that good a condition that's worth putting on the wall to show you sort of demonstrations on. But so you know what I'm talking about. It's quite easily identifiable, should I say, by the fascia panel. Now if you've got one of these, first of all, the door will open sideways. It won't drop down towards the floor. It'll be a sideways open door, and it will be made of metal. And when you open the door, you will see a black plastic fascia panel with these bright green knobs on. Now this boiler for me is one of my favourite boilers of all time. If your heating system's clean and it's regularly and well looked after, maintained and well looked after, these boilers are bomb proof. They are fantastic bits of kit. Just to destroy a few myths about these boilers, number one is that yes, all the parts are still available for it. You can get anything you want for this boiler virtually, and if you can't get it off the shelf, then you will be able to get it usually within 24 hours if you have to order the parts in. So if anyone's telling you the boiler's obsolete or it's too old to be repaired, they're lying, because it can be repaired, and usually if the boiler's in good condition it's well worth the money, because it will last you for a good few more years. The most common problem with this model boiler, the Turbomax, will be a hot water problem, and it will be hot water failure. I'm just going to leave that there so we all know what we're talking about. And hot water failure on this boiler is down to one component mainly, which is this thing. Now this is a hydraulic diverter valve, and it is a hefty bit of kit. It's probably weighs the best part of a kilo, I would say. Solid brass. And yes, they are very expensive. I think the average price on these that you will see, if you want to get a genuine Vaillant part, is around about £147. But this valve should last you 5 to 7 years without any problems. It's, like I said, it's a huge chunk of engineering. There are service kits available for it, but I've found through my own personal experience that once you service and repair them, they only last another further 18 months. So it's a bit of a false economy, really. Usually nowadays, when I find one of these is worn out, I will just replace it, and then I know that I won't be hearing from anyone or that particular customer again for at least a good few years. I'm not concerning this anyway. Now, you may not know, or you may be interested to know, and when you know this has failed. Well, this is hydraulic, so it works on the basis or the principle of pressure, high pressure mains water supply coming in, going through the valve and then going out to the plate heat exchanger and then down to your tap when it's been heated. And the flow of that water and the pressure of that water flowing through the valve is the force, or the hydraulic force, that is used to lift or operate the diverter valve. Now this is no different to any other consumable part, say on your car, like tyres. So depending on the usage will determine how long it lasts or before it wears out. Now, as I said, depending on how often it's used, you may have like a large family or a lot of occupancy in the property. So every time you operate the tap, this valve operates. So it's a bit like your tyres on your car. If the more miles you do, the quicker they'll wear out, and it's exactly the same for this. But there's a few telltale signs that you can use, or you can work out what's going on. Now, when this starts to get tired or starts to wear, first thing that will happen is that the tap, or the hot water tap, furthest away from the boiler, you will find that sometimes when you turn it on, the boiler won't always fire up and come on and deliver hot water. Sometimes you have to turn the tap on 2 or 3 times to get it to fire up. And that will progressively get worse with taps as it gets closer to the boiler. So eventually the furthest tap away will stop operating altogether, and then it'll gradually get closer and closer until finally you start having real problems just to get the boiler to come on. The other thing is that you can check is that when the boiler's in heating mode, so it doesn't actually have to be on and running, so the pump has to be running in central heating mode. So when it's on heating the radiators up, if you turn the tap on, it will deliver you hot water. So you often find that people will say, well, I can only get hot water when my heating's on. If I turn the heating off, I can't get any hot water. Well, if you get any of those sort of scenarios occurring, you can virtually guarantee that it'll be this part that needs replacing. And as I said, although it's an expensive part, these boilers, in my book, one of the best boilers Vaillant have ever made. If your central heating system's clean and the boiler's reasonably well maintained and you get it properly serviced every couple of years or 3 years, this boiler will last you for years and years and years, and you will obviously, from time to time, when the hydraulics get worn on this, you will need to replace it. So there you go. Hydraulic diverter valves, Turbomax VUW 242E, 282E, or the 242-282E stroke 1E, which is the electronic version which came out afterwards. But a very good boiler. But then again, you might have to buy one of these. So there you go.